last episode?
This is the last episode in this space. Last one.
Welcome back to the #1 financial literacy podcast in the world. This is The Higher Standard. Sitting next to me on my left is my partner in crime, Christopher Nahibi.
Sitting next to me on my right, my one, my only, my road dog, my homie. Saied, everybody.
Thank you, my man. And sitting behind the ones and twos, we have nobody. So, space number 2 coming to an end.
Yeah, it's like a bittersweet journey, you know?
Only because we're so excited to get into the next space.
Yeah, look, for those of you who listen to the show, know that we came from literally the garage to this space, which wound up being a good space. We lasted years in this space with a crooked sign. I mean,
it's so subtle.
You remember when we put it in, how upset we were?
Right away. We just kind of trying to push it up.
Yeah. We got to figure out a place. I think we maybe put this on the wall that doesn't have electric. We just don't power it on. We just keep it as homage.
Yeah,
to
I like
the previous space.
I like that.
And then we keep it crooked.
We'll have to.
Yeah, I mean, because we obviously can't hang it straight. But yeah, our time in this space is coming to an end. And for those of you who've been following along on my social media, I bought a space actually just down the hall from here. And it has been a journey. We walked in, Saied thought I was absolutely insane. Yeah.
I did. I wasn't honest with you about it because you had already pulled the trigger. At that point, the damage was done.
Did you really think that it was a no-go?
I didn't see the vision that you had. I did not see that vision.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, admittedly, the vision has changed quite a bit.
But I like the idea of it being like a new space, right?
Well, everybody likes a new space.
Yeah.
But basically 2 rooms, 400 square feet, no water, but electric, you know, and no plumbing at all to it. So there's outside bathroom, outside. Yeah, there's no kitchen space for it. But when we went in there was nothing in there. It was basically like an empty hollow space built in the 1980s. It had new flooring. So I tore down the ceiling and ripped out
the one good thing it had. The flooring.
Yeah, the flooring. Took down the one wall in the space, separating the front room and the back room, and then kind of started putting together a plan for what it would look like, including a glass wall and basically having to put a pony wall up on one side, which didn't have a wall, so we could hear everything the person in the space next to us was saying.
Mm-hmm.
That was problematic.
Mm-hmm.
Insulating it, framing it, drywalling it, painting it, and then obviously all the finishings, which have now just finished up the coffee bar area, which includes a full refrigerator and microwave built in, which is kind of cool. But space was at a premium because there's not a lot of space in that 400 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
But sound deadening, I learned a lot about. And for those of you who are listening to the show, you know that this is a very low budget production.
No, it's not.
I mean, we don't pay anybody to edit anything. This is us.
But this is high quality, crispy, high resolution audio.
Remember we used to say that?
Yeah.
We got told, true story looking back on it. So I originally hired a consultant to help us out. And the consultant said, Chris, I don't know that you can say it's crispy, high resolution audio. Remember that?
Yeah.
I wanted to slap her.
Yeah.
I was so offended. It was correct.
Yeah.
But it was hurtful.
Right.
So we decided to go on a little journey of mastering the audio. We got better at it. And then obviously figuring out the video when we were in the space. And the next space audio is light years above this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go out and so far and say acoustically, there's probably 2 or 3 places in Southern California that have similar studio quality acoustics that we put in. And I'm not, this is not me bragging. I've learned a lot about acoustics and sound and space. But we built walls, insulated them, put 5/8 inch drywall.
Mm-hmm.
Then we built second walls on top of that, re-insulated them, built bass traps there, covered them with acoustic fiber and rock wool, acoustic fabric and rock wool. Then put acoustic panels on top of those. And when you walk in the space, like there's no echo, there's no reverb.
It's noticeable the second you walk in. In this space that we're currently in, you can really tell when you go stand in the corner and you like speak to the corner like you're on timeout.
Remember the first time we did that? We thought we were so special.
I was like, oh my God, look how cool this is.
Yeah.
But in that space, literally right when you walk into it, noticeably different.
Yeah, and I got a little more to do, but it won't be done. So we're gonna after this show's done, we're gonna break down all this, take it to the new studio space.
We recorded it a few days earlier to give us that time.
Yeah. So some of this will go in the new space, some of this won't. Like I don't know how we're gonna do the backdrops yet. I guess technically it can go on the wall um, by the TV or it can go on the wall on the other side. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah. Probably the art wall.
The art wall?
Yeah.
Up top on the art wall?
Mm-hmm.
I'll figure that out. And then
But it's really cool because you walk into the space and you just tell Google to turn everything on, and
yeah,
we got a
that,
show. Or right here on our current setup, it's about a 5-10 minute process.
so that was the motivation for the new space was if there's anything I learned doing content creation is that I know that the small idiosyncratic things that get in your way will be the hurdles that stop you from actually putting out content. So if you have to stop and think or do something or plug something in, that in and of itself will be enough to stop most people from going forward.
Right.
So what I wanted to do is be able to walk in the space, say, Google, turn everything on, and TVs are on, lights are on, we are ready to record. We go to the computer, we hit record, all 3 cameras go on. And that's exactly what this is set up. We're still going to have to do a couple manual things, but you're talking from a 5 to 10 minute setup to probably 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a critical difference to
Yeah.
getting started.
Right.
So if someone comes in, there's that weird setting things up phase where they come in and you're like talking to them while you're setting things up and they sit down. They're like, are we live?
Yeah.
Are we
Yeah.
live now?
Is this
live?
it? Or yeah.
We're going right into it.
Right. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
There are a few podcasts out there that do that now, where literally as the guest steps into the room,
Rogan does that.
the show starts.
Yeah. Rogan does that. Chris Williamson does that.
No, I'm talking about like they're walking in. And
Yeah.
The whole setup. Which, I don't know. It's pretty cool.
I like that. Let's be honest. Nobody cares about in the beginning of a show, like the formalities.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about your day. Are you ready? Let's go.
Yeah,
Like,
so
nobody cares.
what are you promoting?
Nobody cares. Nobody
Yeah.
wants that.
Mhm.
Everybody wants like the real, genuine Theo Vaughn. That's what they want. Although I will admit, some of his humor is really dangerous.
Oh, it's dangerous for us to even admit that you enjoy it. Yeah.
I
It's-
allegedly
have
listened to it.
No,
at some point.
because you have to stay plugged in to see what people are in tune with these days.
And you got to understand, like half of what he says, he's saying for a response. So the comedy's in the response to.
No,
his-
well, hold on. It's no secret. We know, and I'm sure the listeners know too. The comedians that have podcasts, what they're doing is they're really rapid fire testing material, right? They're looking for new material. And
Theo Vaughn doesn't go on tour, does he?
Of course he does.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but he's not releasing specials at a cadence like Tom Segura or Louis C.K. or any like big time hitters,
Yeah, because he's crushing it with his show.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, he just interviewed Donald Trump. I mean,
I know.
he
Who would have thought?
he was one of the stops. Him, Flagrant.
Who would have thought
Yeah,
that was a possibility?
right. First one.
I mean, damn.
Props.
Damn.
I know. Maybe we get into some financial literacy, huh?
No.
Not on this one. Not on the last
Not on this
episode.
Look, I'm going to be honest with everybody listening to the show right now.
Right.
This is going to be an emotional episode for me.
This is tough.
I've been working 16 hours a day, every single day to try to get that thing done, nights and weekends. And I appreciate everybody following the journey because I've been posting a lot of it on social media. But I'm going to miss this space a lot, It wasn't perfect for sure.
But it was ours.
Yeah. It was our first, non-garage home,
Mm-hmm.
for what that's worth.
I remember when we first set up here without the cameras.
Yeah.
We had Yo MTV Raps on in the background
And
while recording episodes.
drinking.
Yes.
Dude, I look back on some of those other early videos, by the way.
Were you
Shame on you for not telling me how chunky I look.
slurring?
I wasn't slurring, but I was definitely chunky looking.
No.
Oh, yeah. I was beefy.
I always knew you for having a face that was a little round, even when at your leanest.
Even now, I got a
No.
round face.
You got the.
Don't say it.
I can't say it.
Don't say
It's
it.
derogatory. I can't even say it.
The GLP-1 face? Is that what
There
you're
you go.
saying?
The GLP-1 face. The Friday's face.
Wow.
Okay.
This show is sponsored by Fridays.
One day.
They're going to pay us a lot of money one day for this.
Exactly. So we're seeing a lot of volatility in the stock market.
Talking about this last show.
No secret. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. But on any given day, you can expect the stock market to go up 1%, down 1%. I think on average that is typically what happens, right? But and we've said on previous episodes that J.P. Morgan Chase is now out here saying 60% chance at a recession.
Yeah.
Goldman Sachs is out here saying 45% chance at a recession,
Mhm.
right? What I want to get into is, and this is what I know people want to hear from us, is how can I best prepare for that scenario?
Well, candidly, um, I think a lot of the tips and literacy that we provide on the show are really recession proof. Dollar cost averaging is recession proof. The only hedge against inflation is to keep investing.
Mm-hmm.
So, all the fears of inflation can really be overcome by continuing to invest. This is so. Gold, for example, always tends to get to a new high
Mm-hmm.
in and around recessionary, inflationary fears, and we're now seeing gold at that point again because people feel like that particular commodity is a hedge against inflation. There's the entire tech bro slash crypto digital currency family of people who believe that that is a hedge against inflation.
That's the dream that is sold to them, right?
Yeah.
That's the pitch behind that.
I would say none of that is true, and that the only true hedge against inflation is to continue investing.
And to keep your money invested, right?
Right.
So I'm a firm believer in history, right? History tends to repeat itself.
I think I'm more of a history buff than you are. I
No,
think
you
I think
are.
you're like a fanboy. Like I'm hardcore.
No, I am, and I am only because the data supports it. I'm a data-driven guy. I'm an underwriter by trade.
Okay, I buy that argument.
Okay, so let's take a look back at some of the recessions that are notable over the past 100 years, and let's see what happened after them. Right. So you got what's the big one that comes to mind? Black Monday.
Black Monday, October 29th, 1929? October
No,
30th.
no, no, no. Black Monday is in 1987.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. You're thinking about around the Great Depression,
Yeah, sorry.
right? No. So this one, the market crash, largest single day decline in history, 22.6% decline in one day.
That was before the auto stops though, right?
Mm-hmm.
They now when the market declines past a certain point, there's breakers built in, and they'll actually stop the market and then reopen it several minutes later on to allow the market to continue activity. It's
Exactly.
supposed to stop the free for all.
It's supposed to stop the free for all. Exactly. So this stock market crash was primarily driven because the market in general was overvalued
Hmm.
at the time, right? The stock prices had tripled in the previous 5 years, and it grew 44% in 1987, right?
Which is a corollary to today's market that we've had very similar outsized growth in a narrow window of time,
Mm-hmm.
particularly in some pretty significant sectors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I continue to be a very big fan of AI. I use it a lot. I stay up to date on the technology. I stay up to date on some of the moral conflicts that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly think we're on the cusp of something that is as revolutionary as the stock prices of these companies seem to reflect.
Yeah.
But there are outside tertiary impacts that I think are important that society itself is not really accepting.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you remove the morality here and the philosophical debate of us creating something that has a soul, you still have this tremendous stress on the power grid. You're approaching gigawatts, which is powering about 1 million homes of power to power some of these AI models. That's a tremendous amount of power. And I've said it before on previous shows with you where we talked about it. Between quantum computing and this, you're talking about tech companies building nuclear power plants
Mm-hmm.
to power their electrical needs.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's insane. But that's how much this is pulling in 1 million homes. You could power 1 million homes or you could power one AI model. I don't see the same level of hysteria on overhyped technology. I think this is revolutionary. I think this technology is, if you look back at the iPhone, there were other competitors out there, and you thought, okay, there's other competitors in the space. You didn't realize the iPhone was going to be as revolutionary, but it really dominates the market. You have Samsung out there,
Of
but
course.
BlackBerry's gone, Nokia's gone. I think AI models are going to be very similar. There's going to be one. It's probably going to be ChatGPT at this particular juncture.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got, Google with theirs. You've got Apple tapping into ChatGPT, so it's leveraging that relationship. You've got X with theirs. And I think there's going to be for sure winners and for sure losers that go away like BlackBerry and Nokia, or change like BlackBerry and Nokia. But I don't think this is overhyped. So I even look at the market now and I say to myself, okay, NVIDIA, they can move. They're a proxy for the AI market, right? Because they make chips and they're largely used for this. Is it overhyped hysteria? Is this value really based in something? And I think there's a possibility that the answer is yes.
So now let's take it a step further to the next recession, the dot-com bubble.
A great example of when there wasn't something really backing this. There was a lot of hysteria in the markets.
Right, exactly. That market collapsed due to speculative valuations of internet companies around the turn of the century.
So I think you were trying to say speculative valuations.
Yeah.
But yeah. So let me be clear here. Uber is a great example of this. When Uber came to market, the valuation was very speculative. There wasn't a comparable business. That's the problem with the tech sector, is some of these disruptive businesses, there's not a proxy to say, hey, this is how a similarly situated business has changed the market. This is how they were valued upon IPO. This is what the stock price should be. So you're really kind of guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole, I don't know if you watched the show Silicon Valley. I doubt you did.
No.
It's all about startups and incubators in
Mhm.
the Silicon Valley. And there's a really famous kind of meme that came from it where this, venture capitalist came in and said, whoa, 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 whoa.
Mm.
Why are you trying to create revenue? You got to be pre-revenue. And he's like, I don't understand. Isn't the point of a company to make money? And he goes, no, the point of a company is not to make money.
Okay, I like this, yeah.
The point of the company is to sell an idea.
Right.
The second you make revenue, people want returns. They want more and more revenue every single quarter. They want you to go public. But before you make money, while you're in that pre-revenue phase, you're selling the dream, baby.
That's true,
There are no
man.
comps.
It's true. It's scary, man. Yeah.
But there's some truth to that. You are the next angel of Wall Street. You're the next like amazing company until such time as you make money, and then you got to make money for real and
Mhm.
improve on it, or you don't.
Well, it's all, and I get they are different, but it's that believe in the hype
Mm-hmm.
is what people got into with crypto.
Well, and not only that, but can the hype manifest into something that's got meaningful value? And I think with crypto, this is going to really upset some people.
Mhm.
The jury is still out on the meaningful value. The dream that was Web3, and I'm carving out crypto here from Web3.
Mm-hmm.
The dream that was Web3, the blockchain technology, open source technology, is still incredibly valuable,
Mm-hmm.
but it hasn't disrupted traditional businesses that it should have. Every receipt worldwide should be on the blockchain. Okay, everybody's receipt for everything,
Mm-hmm.
your DMV registration, your home title,
True.
should all be on the blockchain. This technology exists, but to disrupt municipalities and governments with this type of open source technology to give people access to this much information easily,
Think how many jobs it would wipe out.
it would wipe out jobs. Certainly would.
Mm-hmm.
But title companies, we'll use them as an example. The point of title, and you learn this in law school, is you go all the way back, going down the chain of title until that piece of title was created. You go from every buyer to every seller to every buyer to every seller, all the way back to when the property was created and title first was recorded for that property. Then you go the other way, from every seller to every buyer, every seller to every buyer, and so on and so forth to today. And you're basically trying to make sure there wasn't any rogue titles out there where somebody sold, hey, I own this property, Chris, I sell it to Saied. You go and you hold on to it. But then I go and sell it to Billy Bob.
Mm-hmm.
And Billy Bob records it before you do.
Mm-hmm.
In some jurisdictions, in a race jurisdiction, the first one there, the first one to race the title to record has actually got a bona fide or real title.
First in time, first in right.
That's right. Look at you. That law school paid off for you.
Mm.
And then there's notice jurisdictions where if you had noticed that Billy Bob was out there, your deed is considered null and void. That you have no right to record. And there's also race, notice, jurisdictions, which is a combination of both. None of that really matters here for the point of this is you could eliminate all of this complexity by giving everybody access to look at title records themselves,
Mm-hmm.
to go up and down the chain of title through the blockchain, and it's open source. You know it's true. So this way, if you go to sell me a property, I just go to the blockchain and go, okay, Saeed's the bona fide owner. He owns this property. Look at all this train of title. He can sell it to me. Right? It's a simple concept. It's not like this is advanced, like, chemistry. We're going, oh my God, I don't understand how this works. This is very simple.
Right.
Blockchain can disrupt that today, and yet it still hasn't. So the dream that was Web3 has not been fully realized. Crypto is a great usage for Web3 on some level, but part of what makes it almost like superhero-like is also part of the problem.
The big part of the problem.
The creator of Bitcoin has yet to be identified and may never be identified. That doesn't bother people.
I know. It should.
Some people want to see like this angelic figure who's like, I'm Batman, and comes down and goes, I give you crypto. Or they try to pin it on people. There's been several documentaries about it, but Satoshi, the alias this person went by, sent messages and created these working groups of people who were professionals, who were coders, to do all this stuff, and sent messages vis-a-vis emails, and then one day vanished. One day popped up again, then it vanished again, completely never came back, and is arguably one of the world's wealthiest people, if this person is still alive. And even then, there's an original block of cryptocurrency that's been unsold. How do you have faith in something that you don't fully understand the history of?
Mm-hmm.
So I look at, and to get back to your point of the tech bubble bursting, that's where I go, okay, I could look at crypto and I could say this bubble could still burst. I know it's going to upset a lot of people, but there's still that possibility.
Sure.
Right? You don't have a proxy for it. It's never been done before. This is the first time in history. If it's successful or not, we don't know. It'll take time, years and years and years. People are going to say, well, Chris has been around for, decades. Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, but it's also fluctuated 80% 3 times already.
Yeah, but it's generally gone up. Okay? I know that hurts your feelings because you are a crypto hater.
Paper hands.
But all I'm saying is I hope that it continues to keep value.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that there's enough people who support it at this particular juncture that it's not going away. But it needs something more concrete. I think the first step to getting concrete was getting regulatory approvals for some of the mutual funds and trading that now incorporate it, right? But ETFs, for example. But I think you got a long way to go until it's fully ingratiated into the financial system, and that's going to be kind of the make or break at cross point. With a lot of things like AI, I don't think this is like the 2001 bubble bursting. I think there's real world implications to what AI is doing.
But it takes a long time for those realizations to get implemented into things that are still being ran by those that some might consider very outdated.
No. I think unlike the blockchain, I think AI is already changing things in a meaningful way. I use AI every single day.
Yeah, but for it to be incorporated,
it's already incorporated
into business practices,
dude. Whether people want to admit it or not, whether your business allows for it or not, it's being used.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it is being used. Yeah,
but okay, now if you have Microsoft 365, they have their AI incorporated into your email.
Oh yeah,
into Word, and you can use it. Generally speaking, if you have access in your company, you
it already knows what you want to say. It's going to finish your whole sentence for you.
Yeah, it's incredible. Some of the benefits, and so most of my writing now is me telling ChatGPT what I want. And I don't know. Have you used the audio function?
No, I haven't.
So you can actually dictate to ChatGPT and have it write what you want based on your notations.
It'll transcribe it. Okay.
It'll transcribe it, embellish it however you want, and give you like the responses that you want. That entire studio that we just built, it was all ran through ChatGPT. Every single decision that I made, not only aesthetically but functionally, I had a legitimate discourse conversation.
The order of which things got done.
Oh, everything. Like I literally was like, okay, this is what I want to do. How do I do it? Okay, cool. What order should I go in? Are there anything I should think about? I mean, I would literally have this conversation. There is a 4-month-long chain of communication between ChatGPT and me. And as ChatGPT 4.0 rolled out and some of the other 4.0S, whatever the hell it was, it came out, it now remembers things. You can add documents that it can constantly reference. I've literally done that now, and now it's got a meaningful understanding of what I'm trying to do. I asked it to generate an image today of what the space would look like with acoustic panels in the back,
Oh yeah,
and you got a copy of it.
gorgeous. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is
Yeah, from a distance, unless you opened it up and like zoomed in, you couldn't tell that it was an AI generated photo.
it was spot on. It used
Yeah.
to be literally just 3 months ago. You would ask AI to generate a person, and it would have like 6 fingers or 3
Yes.
fingers,
Right.
and it like the words wouldn't be right. Now, not only does it look incredibly vividly real,
Mm-hmm.
but the fingers are right, the details are right. There are entire Instagram porn profile like teasers where you go to the Instagram accounts and they basically have like an OnlyFans or whatever account they're trying to like, drag you to,
Yeah.
where it's an entire person that literally is made up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've heard about this.
And there's actually, and this is actually brilliant. Companies in South Korea are actually creating models because they know these female models and male models will never have drug problems, never be in the press, and they'll never get old, they'll never change, and they are the spokesperson for brands. They have brand deals for their AI models, and everybody knows they're engaging a brand deal with this AI model, but there's zero risk associated with it.
Right.
No controversy whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
The Snow White controversy, where the young actress is telling everybody about all her political beliefs, and it's causing all sorts
Out
of
the
a
window.
stir. All that's gone.
Yeah.
At what point in time does a studio house say, "Look, we can hire, Taylor Swift to be an actress in this, but we don't really align with her political beliefs," or we can hire this person, this AI model, have them act the way we want,
Right.
however we want, and there's no Blake Lively controversy here.
Yeah, but the element of it not being real for me, I mean, that's gonna always draw me back, right?
But how do you know? What's your proxy for real? Because you see this person on social media? A lot of these AI models got social media accounts too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting to a point now where I saw it the other day. I kid you not. This is real. Okay. A young blonde man, he was blonde, blue eyes, facial hair, probably about 5'8", and had a, relatively normal, like dude-like figure, right? Not like in shape, but not out of shape. Just, regular
Yeah.
dude. He had created a real-time digital avatar of a super hot blonde girl with blue eyes
Yeah.
with effectively the same like body, but like a female body, where he's on camera talking, hand gestures, just him normally. And the AI in real time is making him this really attractive female with the exact same background. So you see through video chat this really attractive female.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how things work with like clothes coming on or off or stuff like that, but he had basically this conversation that he was selling. He would have conversations with people as this female
I could see a world where
in real time.
I could see a world where it would just take one generation for all of this to get replaced, right? Because I look at my kids.
Yeah.
There's no emotional connection to any actual actor or actress right now, right?
It's wildly different.
A lot of the stuff that they're right now like attached to is like Pixar animation stuff like that, anime. Let's just say, right? If they're into like Pokemon or something, right? And you're like, okay, like they're tied to characters. They don't really care about the individuals. Like, remember, like there was back in the day, there was like that Mickey Mouse Club,
Yeah.
right? And you had all those celebrities that were young actors and
Ryan
actresses.
Gosling.
Ryan Gosling, Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
And now you got this emotional connection, and now you're seeing them grow up, and now, okay, they're almost like planted into all these other industries.
Mhm.
And not to say that they aren't talented, right? But they worked on those talents and they honed in and they got better. And now
they
you
had
have an
opportunities.
emotional connection
Yeah, 100%.
to these people. So it's like it would just take one generation for everything to be removed.
Mhm.
Right?
We're already there.
I don't know how I
dude.
feel about it personally.
Streaming television on demand
I get the risk.
content has changed the way we think of celebrity status.
I see your point on like the risk from, let's say, a production company or a label or an agency and dealing with these prima donnas, right? That could go rogue at any given time,
And they do.
right? And they do, right? But like, I'm not looking at it from their lens. I'm not looking at it from like an investment point of view. I'm looking at it from like someone who consumes the content. I'm still very much of that older generation that can appreciate a really good acting performance by Joaquin Phoenix in Joker.
You want to know how I know
right?
you're lying?
Why?
And you're lying to yourself, not to me. I recognize that.
Okay.
Disney's Pixar
Yeah.
Right?
Love it.
Fantastic, right?
Love it. But I only got into it because of my kids.
I understand that. But take that up a notch, which is really where we're at today,
Mm-hmm.
and you have very real human-looking people, but still a Pixar digitally created
No,
world.
no, no. But listen, the idea behind like someone like Joaquin Phoenix playing Joker.
No, I get it.
Okay,
I
like
get it.
seeing somebody do that's capable of getting themselves into that mental state, which arguably is not healthy, right?
No, 100% it's not healthy.
Right? But to see them go through that, that's impressive, right? And I can still very much appreciate that. And I don't know if I would appreciate the acting performance of something being prompted to do something a certain kind of way, right?
I get it, but you would appreciate the technology, the beauty, and the
Oh yeah,
scene,
yeah,
like
yeah,
all
yeah.
those things.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
You know, let's be honest. It
Or
comes
like-
down to a business.
Like just watching Game of Thrones, right?
Never watched it.
I didn't never watched it, but the sets that they would build on there, sometimes 2 weeks to build a set for 15 seconds. Right? It's like that's incredible, man.
Yeah.
You know, and like to know that somebody created that.
But you know, you're getting to a point where that's not economically viable.
No, it's not economically viable, but I know.
You know, I think, yeah,
That's an art. That's an art that
no,
would be
it's 100% an art.
that would be lost.
I think you already lost it. I'm be honest with you.
It's gone. Yeah.
I think you're getting to the point where you're losing the art because this stuff is just so real, and not only real, but can be done so quickly.
Oh, I know.
I watched, and I have to find it for you because you'd love it. A father and a son created an AI avatar. Like the son prompted it, and he created like this like fabric sock puppet looking like cartoon figure, and just a picture.
Mm-hmm.
The father, in one weekend, through prompting AI in different video platforms, found a way to recreate the character in different scenes and was able to create a 30-minute cartoon animation from it. And it's like a real cartoon in one weekend.
Wow.
He took a character his son created and animated it through a series of events, made a 30-minute long, I'm talking with a voice,
Unreal.
with like background noises in literally one weekend.
Yeah.
That's astonishing.
That's impressive. Yeah.
So you can't tell me that AI isn't meaningfully already in the world.
No, but there should be a
right now.
world where both can exist.
I'm sure there is, but the dominant species in this planet is not going to be us.
Yeah, salaries are going to have to come down for some of these actors.
Well, I mean, let's take a brutal, honest fiscal perspective here, and this is going to really upset some people. For a long time, we said, this is the royal we, okay? We said, hey, why would I manufacture products here when I can manufacture it in China and Thailand and Vietnam and India, right?
I know
a fraction of the price.
I know people here,
Mhm.
right, who are starting businesses.
Yeah.
That are saying, I would much rather have sacrificed a little bit on the employees, hire people out of the country,
Mhm.
right? Because there are no labor laws there, and it's significantly cheaper,
Well, and then here's the problem.
right?
Is
I mean because it's more economically viable.
if I show you a product and the quality difference is negligible, and one is worth $20 and one is allegedly worth $40, but the quality difference is negligible and they're the same to you,
Mm-hmm.
you're probably going to buy the cheaper one.
Case in point, Shein, right?
Shein,
Shein
Shein.
for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember, I warned people in the show that Shein and Temu were not carved out of the cost exception.
Prices
and
went up.
And prices going to go up. Prices went up in a meaningful way. They are driven effectively out of business. People are literally losing their mind over this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if y'all would have listened to the Higher Standard podcast, we told you this was coming.
It was coming down the pipe.
But so here's my point with the whole thing. So we made the decision at some point in time that offshoring some of these tasks was economically viable.
Mm-hmm.
People personalize the decisions that are made in business, but it's not personal. It's just a fiscal decision. So what is Apple doing? They're moving a lot of their production to India, right? It's just a safer hedge of their best from China, currently based in the tariff conversation they're having now,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's gonna be meaningful for them. Look at Google. Google has tax, situation based out of, I think, Scotland or Ireland.
India cleaning up right now. They're like, yeah, bring it all. Give me
Yeah,
more.
I mean, brilliant.
They
brilliant
do.
business
They do a large percentage of our medication too, I think.
Yeah, they do. So my whole point with this is, what do you think companies are going to do when they can outsource to an AI model? If I can pay a flat monthly fee, no full-time employee,
Mm-hmm.
no HR, no health care, no benefits,
Mm-hmm.
no pension. Just I pay this fee, and this company provides me the service that these same employees do.
Mm-hmm.
And case in point, call centers.
Yeah.
You could hire a manager, several people, train them on your policy and procedures, or you could hire one AI model after letting it take a digital scan of your policy and procedure. You could pick its personality, pick its accent, pick it
If that
available 24/7.
if that response time can just speed up like a half second faster, I think it's there.
No, dude, some of these AI models, I don't know if you ever tried chatting with some of these chatbots. Like I did not realize I was talking to an AI model in a number of
I
circumstances.
for the first time ever,
Mhm.
I am a lot more comfortable using the text chat bots,
Mm.
because I'd rather give the chatbot my general information. Hurry up, let's get this over with, right? And then when somebody calls me, it's already plugged in, ready to go.
See, but I hate the chatbots that they ask you like questions that are like multiple choice.
No, no, yeah,
I
yeah.
want the ones that engage with you. You ever see the ones where they show you the person's name that comes up and it's always like a hyper foreign name and you're like, ah, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. Right?
Uh, so wait, so back to this. The reason why I brought up Black Monday and why I brought the .com bubble, right?
Because you had no content for the show?
No, I did. Because we were talking about how can people best prepare for a recession, because that term is very scary, right? The Fed's already come out and predicted that you can pretty much bank on an contraction in Q1.
I stand by the fact that we've been in one this whole time. So
Yeah.
you're preparing for what we've already been living through.
You're exactly. So if you haven't, hopefully you can begin preparing now, and if you don't, then at least you'll know what to prepare for the upcoming future. A lot of this stuff applies year round, whether you're in a recession or not in a recession, right? So once it does become apparent that yes, we did experience a contraction in Q1, we're half the way there, right?
Yeah.
We're another quarter away,
Yeah.
right? But after Black Monday, the market rebounded over 500%. Okay.
Yeah, the rebounds are very common, believe it or not.
After the .com bubble,
Yeah.
it rebounded 100%, right?
Over time.
Yeah, by 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
Right? So
over time.
.com bubble was 2001. By 2006, 2007, it was over 100%.
And this is why I say the only true hedge against inflation is to keep investing, because if you're investing through these periods, when the market recovers, you've bought at economic lows. If you could do it financially, and I recognize this is not for
Mhm.
everybody, advice-wise, but it's a real benefit if you can do that.
Right. And then lastly, just quickly to go over something that we're all very much aware of and what you've probably seen a lot of thumbnails on YouTube for, right, is another housing crash like the one that we experienced in 2008,
Mhm.
right? The market resulted for 12 years, 400% gains. Okay. So if history has taught us anything, right, it's to stay in, to not pull your money out of the market.
To the
Right?
extent that you can.
To the extent that you can. And the only way you can do that is if you do some of the necessary steps, right? You secure reliable income, right? Hopefully you can secure your job, and you've developed the skills during this time, invest in yourself to make sure you can maintain the job that you have, right? Next, build a reserve account. I know it's a huge undertaking to say 6 to 12 months of your needs, right?
That really is a so I struggle with this. I feel like it comes off disconnected to say that.
Very much so.
The aspiration for most Americans, it should be that.
But you start off with, you know what you start off with? One paycheck. Can I save up enough to cover myself if I lost one paycheck? Okay, you did that. Next, 2 paychecks, right? From there, and you slowly build on that. In addition to that, you want to make sure that you're paying down high interest debt. Okay? So that you want to do all of these things so that you aren't forced to pull your money out of the market when a recession does hit, if the market does take a downturn. Because if you were to look at the last 30 years, and if your money was not invested in the 10 best days over that 30-year period,
Yep.
you would have lost out on 50% of those gains.
Yeah.
50%. If you weren't invested in 20 of the best days of those 30 years, you're looking at over 70%. right? So it's about preparing so that you don't need to sell and you can continue to dollar cost average.
Yeah, and look, again, this goes back to everything we say on the show for investing in normal times still applies during recessions. There's no meaningful. I understand the fear, and I have this conversation at times with my brother, who does not listen to the show.
Shame.
Shame. One extra stream a month, man. Um, I'm going to be 45 in a couple months. I don't feel 45. I
Yeah.
still feel like I'm connected to the youth.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel
While you're wearing an all facts, no cap hoodie.
all facts, no cap. It's actually the shirt hoodie. It's the faux hoodie.
The faux hoodie.
Yeah, because we like to keep it toasty in the studio because the new one's gonna be crispy cold.
Yeah, it is.
It's gonna be a fridge in there. But
My wife likes to sleep like in like slightly warmer temperatures. I like colder temperatures.
oh, Joanna likes it freezing.
Yeah,
cold.
yeah. And I the best thing was me pulling out all the studies. So much better for you to sleep colder. Look, it says it right here. These are the studies. I'm not saying it. It's the study.
Yeah. No comment.
Yeah.
Get a Sleep 8 mattress. It'll help you out.
Yeah.
You can adjust both sides.
Mhm.
So I'm getting a little older, and I recognize that I am well into middle age at this particular juncture.
You would hope so.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
So, and I say this not facetiously. I've seen a lot, and I don't know when I got to this point where I can feel comfortable saying that I know how much I don't know, but there are a few things that I do know a great deal about.
Ooh,
And over the course of my career,
do tell.
I have underwritten for decades. And for those of you who don't 100% know what that means, I looked at people's financial statements, their income statements, their balance sheets, their tax returns, their assets, their liabilities. And there's reoccurring themes
Mm-hmm.
for how some people became wealthy. And you have to carve out the
Yeah.
nepotism.
I think that's the big misconception, right? Like some people think that if you get into this space, you're gonna find out there's a formula. You do this and this and
because
this.
social media sells that.
Right? There's no formula. It's when you do the work, you underwrite enough deals, you look at enough financials.
Yeah.
There are a lot of recurring themes.
And it's also the same reason why on social media, like I'll be the first person to go, "Oh, that person's lying. That person's lying."
You could tell right away.
Like that story doesn't make sense. That
Mhm.
doesn't add up. And people get really, really frustrated by that. Like I have been very publicly critical of like Alex Ramosi. There's a gym launch thing and all that stuff, and I don't know him well enough to really to know or not know. I use him as a proxy, but I can't tell you how he got to where he's at, which to me is problem number one. But problem number two is I see a person who sells
A dream.
horses. He sells a dream. He preys on your desire to find that algorithm to make you money quickly.
Mm.
But I've underwritten billions of dollars of transactions over the course of decades. I can probably count on one hand the people that I can say that have found that solution that worked for them and made money quickly. And it's very rare the person who maintains the money. Some of them, very, very high profile people that I've seen come from zero to where they are today, that are very popular, very public. I've talked to actors, I've talked to celebrities, I've talked to people that are billionaires. I mean, I've talked to the full gambit.
Mm-hmm. Politicians.
Yeah, lots of politicians. A lot more so in the recent years. And this is not me being braggadocious. I'm very blessed and lucky to have seen the people and the things that I've seen. But it's not lost on me that there are commonalities. And it's not like hustle culture.
Mm.
It's not like this, I made money overnight in this whimsical journey and now I'm coaching everybody else on how to make money on this whimsical journey. I've never seen anybody's finance. Actually, I take that back. There's one popular influencer who is on social media selling courses who came through my shop.
Mm.
And I saw this person's financials and they were not anywhere near what they purported them to be. And that wasn't surprising to me.
Mm.
Because I was like, this is the truth behind the things that we see that I always anticipated being the case. And look, I learned a lot, and I'm still friends with this person today. It's all good, and different company, different times, but whatever. And I can tell you that it makes me hypercritical of the people who sell this dream because they prey on it. But here's the truth of what I've learned in all these years. You can become wealthy working in corporate America. We've demonized corporate America. If you like your job and it's not terrible for you and you like the consistency of the scheduling, if you like the people you work with, good for you. The majority of your wealth will not come from your salary. In almost all cases, it'll come from your investments you make outside of your job.
Mm-hmm.
And people in corporate America who are higher up, they hate it when I say this. They think that I'm encouraging this freedom outside of work. We are not slaves to our jobs. You don't have to work for your company. I don't have to work for my company. Nobody has to work for their company, right? You work at a company because it provides you something in return for the time commitment that you make and the services that you render. Now, what their anticipation of your commitment is and your anticipation needs to be aligned.
Mm-hmm.
It can be very different, but you can still become very wealthy earning a fair wage at any company if you invest right and you think right.
Yeah, and you got to make sure that when you do get that first promotion,
Mm-hmm.
you try not to adjust your lifestyle, right? Make an adjustment towards your investments. Don't make an adjustment towards your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Don't opt for that. Oh, okay, my lease is coming up. We just got a promotion. Time for me to get that M3, bro.
That happens a lot. And I will say more often than not, people can't sustain it. It's almost like a personal Ponzi scheme where people continue to like blow up their life and blow up their life and blow up their life.
Mm.
I've always had this fear, and I can't speak for everybody else. My fear has always been like I've been poor.
Mm.
Like my mom and I had to get change from the couch to get a Hershey bar and a 2-liter bottle of soda. Getting pizza was a rare thing for us. And we stayed at home and watched TGIF. We never went anywhere. We did anything. And in some ways, I get it now because there's this fear of being broke again that's inside of me. It's deep there, right? So I don't want to get a bigger house and a bigger car. Like I want to be thoughtful and pragmatic, and I just don't want to be poor again.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's the wrong mindset to have because a lot of people who are less risk adverse will take on greater risks. I've taken on very safe risks.
There is an element to that too, yeah.
But this is why I always say, if you're not going to start your own company, then you need to learn to invest your disposable income in a real way. And I don't care how you invest. You listen to the show, we talk about the stock market, we talk about real estate, we talk about cryptocurrency from time to time. Well, one of us does anyway. I'm not going to call any names here. Look, you can you just find your niche and go for it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, once you develop a healthy appetite and you feel like you've grown a portfolio to something you feel comfortable with,
Yeah.
I think you can always look to readjust, right? And find out what is your comfort zone, what percentage you can now allocate towards speculative investments, right? I mean, you've said it on the show. There's people that that have made some of the most money that they made was through their speculative investments, but they weren't able to take on that risk unless they also balanced it elsewhere.
So let's take a little bit of an exercise here. And I'm going to just test a theory out because there is an other side of this equation that I would be remiss if we did not discuss.
Let's do it, yeah.
Would you feel comfortable if I asked you to name some wealthy people that you know? It could be celebrities, famous people. Just name somebody who's wealthy that you know.
Okay. Sure. Right.
Just name
Let's go
somebody.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Great. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Name another one.
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. Okay. Name another one.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. Okay. Good one. All right. Name another one.
Let's go Chamath.
Chamath, All In Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Chamath's an interesting one. So let's stop there. All of these people own their own companies. All of them.
Started their own companies.
Started their own companies. Chamath actually was, I think he was a Google employee, right? He's
Meta, Facebook, right?
Facebook. Yeah, so it was somewhere in there. He was one of the first employees at one of these big, I can't remember what the company was. But now owns his own company.
Mm-hmm.
So he's an interesting difference. And Joe Rogan started working for other people, but he was, he was doing the comedy thing at night.
Mm-hmm.
Got Fear Factor. Effectively, he's on his own company. His own company was his own brand. Right? So there is something to be said for those who have the entrepreneurial spirit who can own their own companies. Now, I'm not encouraging you to leave your job and start a company. I'm just saying that there is a greater likelihood of building visible wealth, real wealth,
Mm-hmm.
at building your own company than there is you working the traditional corporate American dream.
Right. Now,
Now,
this is
not everybody's motivated with the same motivation here.
you have to sacrifice a lot,
Yeah.
right? All these people that we talk about, they had to sacrifice a lot,
Mhm.
right? You have to get comfortable with the idea that this might not work out right away. I mean, Adam, Mind Pump was on here,
Yep.
and
Sat in that chair.
sat in.
Looked a lot more buff than you, though.
I mean, muscles were popping, they were bouncing, just like bang bang, bing bop boom bam. I can't even say it
Yeah, you
live.
messed it up. You had it going, though. No, dude, he looks shredded at all times. But I'm going to be honest with you. Other than my fat face,
Uh-oh.
I think I got him.
Oh,
I think I got him now.
be careful.
Yeah, man.
I know you do. You cover it up.
I just have a fat face, dude. Like, when people
The
look
body,
at
the body doesn't match the face.
it does not match. Even I know it. Like, I look in the mirror and I'm like, stuck doing like duck face. Like, I'm just trying to like, I know I've got a fat person's face. I do not match my physique. I was working out in the gym today, and I was looking, because I focus on like the time and attention.
No, I think it's just you. I think you have this burned image in your head about your own face. It does not look like that, bro.
I got a fat face, dude.
No.
Dude, I look at my face a lot because I do the podcast editing and I do like,
Oh
the
my
thumbnails.
God.
And I got like a strangely long face, so every time I put your face next
That's
to
just
mine,
because your beard.
it's because
And
you've got a beard
and,
too,
and
dude.
you do. And no, I don't let it hang down.
Yeah, I've got the
Yeah, but you also used to do the poof. You had a poof.
the poofy hair. So I'm walking through Restoration Hardware looking for a table for us, right?
Okay.
And you watch Marvel movies?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my last one was Endgame, so
Okay.
I can't say.
Who's the magician?
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. All right, just make sure we're on this. Just have to keep baseline.
Yeah,
Right,
and he's one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm walking through Restoration Hardware, and I want to set the scene, so I'm going to be very descriptive here.
Okay.
This older guy comes out to me. He's like, "I got that couch in my house." Blah blah blah. He's trying to sell me something, right? And I'm like, "Yeah. I'm not here for a couch, bro. I'm here for a table. I'm looking for a podcast table." But he's nice, and I got like a real limited amount of time. It's a Saturday, whatever. And this really well-dressed African-American dude comes over to me.
Mm.
And I couldn't tell if he works there or not. I mean, he's very fashionable, like looks incredible. I'm like, "Does this guy work here?"
Yeah, stud. Yeah.
See, and he goes, "Hey, what's up, Dr. Strange?" I'm like, I'm sorry, what was that?
What a compliment.
He goes,
That's a
"Your
great.
facial hair, like you don't doubt. Do you go to conventions?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" He's like, "Do you go to conventions?" It's like, "I just figured you died." I'm like, "No, this is the way it looks, dude." And he goes, "Oh. And I go, "All right, well, I'm not offended by it." And he goes, "Would you prefer Tony Stark? Because there's that too." And I'm like, "This is a weird conversation."
Yeah, this guy's doing a great job. I mean, this is right up your alley, though.
Yeah, it was weird. And then he worked there.
He did.
Yeah, he tried to sell
That's
me,
good.
He tried to sell me a table. But that's when I realized my facial hair is a problem.
That's a good conversation.
I got a reverse diet. I just got to make it all gray.
Yeah, there you go. Reverse diet. Oh man. But yeah, all those guys started their own companies.
And it's a reoccurring, resounding theme. But let's. So here's a problem for most people, unfortunately, and this is not going to be a buzzkill, but it's going to sound like it at first. A lot of them started their own companies in their early 20s. Right?
Yeah, I know. 19, 20 years old. That's right. Even Mr. Beast, right?
Yeah, that's right. They started companies hyper early. And it's because they were passionate about it. They had less to risk it to lose. They didn't have a family, wife, kids. They had different reasons. And they certainly struggled in the beginning, lived a poor lifestyle in some cases. But they were able to work the hours, and they wanted to work the hours because they believed in it.
If I could give my kids any one thing, that messaging was not given to me.
Because society doesn't encourage it.
Yeah, especially not my culture.
There's a
my
lot of
culture. It's like it was, dude. They're still upset to this day.
Yeah.
They're like, "You dropped out of law school.
Yeah.
You're dead to me, right?"
Yeah. No, I get it.
And you're like, okay. I mean, I get it. You guys had to sacrifice a lot to get here, right? And you had to sacrifice a lot to get me to where I am. But if this messaging was put onto me earlier, so my dream for my kids would be, I would love to watch you go try something and fail. I would love to see it because I just want to see you try. So anytime the kids do anything, I'm always complimenting the effort, not the result.
All right, I'm going to take a bit of a risk
Uh-oh.
and say something very pointed that I've felt for a long time.
Mm.
And this is not a setup for a joke. This is real.
Uh-oh.
So I know that's also hard for you
We're taking a serious turn at the 55-minute mark?
Yeah, because look, I think this is an important thing. The American collegial system is messed up. We care more about politicizing opinions and even the way, like, so I spent a lot of time researching archaeology
Mhm.
because I like it. I'm truly passionate about it. And
It's
whenever
cool,
I
yeah.
can, whenever I can't sleep at night, which is a lot of nights, to try to get my mind off things, I read about archaeology and history and try to figure out some of these things, right?
Mhm.
I particularly love Egypt. I particularly love pirate ships. I love a lot of just really strange niche topics. There are a lot of people who have dissenting opinions from the traditional archaeology
Oh, yeah.
perspective
Yeah.
that get demonized in the media because their opinions don't conform to what they learned in school and now want to teach you about the world.
I'm sure that happens in medicine too.
It happens in every type of collegial setting.
Yeah.
Medicine's god awful at this.
Yeah.
You know, like when you were a kid, you heard if you cracked your knuckles, it'd give you arthritis.
No,
That is not true.
that's still embedded in my head. Yeah.
It's embedded in your head.
Yeah.
Another one, and this is going to really upset your wife. I apologize.
Uh-oh.
A lot of oral hygiene is genetic.
Oh, yeah.
That's a known thing. Yet we're like, brush your teeth. You're going to get a cavity.
No, but I mean, yeah.
Don't eat sugar. You're going to get a cavity.
There's certain things that you have to maintain.
100%.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's just, you feel cleaner. I mean,
Yeah.
that's something said for that. But
I know
kids-
there's nobody that takes care of their teeth better than my mom, and she's got all kinds of issues.
oh, I've got terrible teeth genetically.
Yeah.
The only thing I've had straighter teeth than most genetically. But that being said, like it's just there's so much corrupt about the educational system. When I was younger, I was of the mindset of like, hey, those who can do, those who can't teach. And I know it's insulting to teachers because my sister was a teacher. And
Say it again.
those who can do, those who can't teach. You can't actually do it, you teach it. Because if you could actually do it, you'd be making money on it and you wouldn't be teaching it. That was the fundamental belief. I have walked back that belief, right? I don't necessarily believe in that per se. But what I will say is we don't pay our teachers well enough.
Yeah.
We don't pay our healthcare professionals well enough.
I don't see that changing either.
We don't pay our firefighters and policemen well enough. We don't pay our military. Thank you for the military. We appreciate your service. We don't pay our military enough. These are the people that are the backbone of our society. And we treat them like bastard stepchildren. And we wonder why kids grow up with like these weird aspirations for finance and business. And to make matters worse, when people come up with conceptually new ideas and they want to challenge things, you demonize them. I have literally seen in the professional world, and I'm gotta make sure I'm measured.
Measure.
I have literally seen people that you think are well-regarded, well-respected people who cannot and will not draft their own emails.
Yeah. Man.
They have asked me to draft them for them so they can send them on. Because they want to sound articulate. And you're like, okay, how?
Yeah.
What? This is so like egotistical. Like, first of all, it's disingenuous.
It's disingenuous. It should be unacceptable.
But do you know how many professors in school just want to appear in like a published paper?
Right. It's a status symbol.
It's a status. Not only that, but like this is Hollywood. Great example, Hollywood, right? In Hollywood, they literally attach producers to projects. I think it was on Rogan a little while ago, and I heard it, and I know this to be true, because that producer's name will carry cachet and drag that along.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
But it's not just Hollywood; it's also in business too.
It's all.
Who's your investor?
It all goes.
Oh, it's this big company, on the East Coast. Oh, well, I'm in too.
It all goes back to what you said about the Silicon Valley episode.
It's
like all these people are there to just sell a dream, man.
Perception becomes reality. And the dream that we were sold was the belief that college would guarantee us opportunities. And it did. For a long time, it did.
For multiple generations.
Pensions.
Yeah, for multiple generations.
Yeah.
But I don't know if how that plays out. I mean, dude, you're coming out of college now with debt that you have to pay right away, right? And look where rents are to pay for a room, right? And on top of that, all your utilities, a car payment, dude, there's nothing left for you to save and build towards. So, and we've talked about it on the show that a lot of these universities have the endowments that they're receiving. This, all the students at the school could be going there for free.
Yeah. They make more money off their multi-billion-dollar endowment funds interest every single year than they do on new tuition.
Right. So,
That's a problem.
And I felt so bad. I didn't know. We didn't ended up not saying anything. So please don't message me any hateful comments. But so my son, we talked about on the last show with the AI picture and whatnot. He's really into engineering right now, right? And still really into basketball, right? He's like, Dad, how am I going to do both? How am I going to become a professional basketball player and be an engineer, right?
I don't know that he's got an engineer's personality type, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think he just likes making stuff, right?
Okay.
Like,
I
into
mean,
science,
look, whatever.
That's what he thinks engineering is, right? So I'm like, he's like, how am I going to be able to do both? I was like, it's okay, man. Like, you'll figure it out. You don't have to pick one right now. We'll just figure it out. He's like, oh, I got it. I'll be a professional basketball player, and then I'll teach engineering, right? And then when my professional career is over, then I'll just keep teaching. And then I want to be like,
who's that player? Jaylen Brown?
What about him?
Isn't he the one that's like hyper brilliant? And
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, went to Cal.
Yeah, went to Cal, teaches it and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't have an agent. He's his own agent.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, why am I paying this guy 5%? I'll do this myself.
Totally agree.
Yeah. But you got to be careful. You got to be very careful, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are not financially literate, so like you could mess up.
Jaylen Brown's financially literate.
Yeah, I mean, he's smart enough to know, like, oh, I'll take your contract and I'll just pay somebody a fee to review it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I'll pay my attorney a fee to review it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be on retainer.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we can figure this out from an economically viable situation.
Yeah, and then I was just like the idea of you like wanting to teach is cool, but like I also don't want to like put it down either. You know, like I want you to aspire to be something like big, start your own company and do something.
No, look, I don't want to demonize teaching.
I don't want to demonize.
I love teaching. I've always been a fan of teaching, and
Right.
I actually just had a conversation with somebody about going back to Yale and maybe teaching something at some point in time about finance. I would love to do that.
Yeah, I think it's awesome, right? And I agree with you. They don't get paid enough, and that's my only reason, because I'd be like, I just want you to aspire for something.
Yeah, but do you know how much better quality of it? This is gonna sound terrible. The people that teach now do it for passion and love.
Yes.
And how do we reinvest in them?
I
How do
know.
we make them better teachers?
Mm-hmm.
We pay them low wages. We give them very little support.
I know.
A lot of them are paying for stuff on their own. They don't have TAs in some of these classes that are non-collegial.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, if I could say, are college kids more impressionable than the 5th and 6th graders?
Mm-hmm.
I think you got to give a support to the 5th and 6th grade teachers, the elementary school teachers, right? Like,
I mean, that's
these
where it all
are the
begins.
impressionable ages.
Oh yeah.
Let's get. My son is often sitting at a different table because he's got Kumon classes at night, that they're doing the afternoons, I should say. And his Kumon classes, and I'm just using this as a proxy, this is not a dad story. He's so far advanced of his regular classes because he's in this Kumon program.
I know.
But the quality of education in the Kumon program, which we're paying more for, obviously, it's night and day difference. And I'm like, hey, this should be standard.
I was him, and I became a problem.
You've been a problem for a while, baby boy.
I became a problem all throughout elementary school. Or I was just like, especially the math portions, forget it. You don't need to do that as a waste step. And she's like, can you just please stop? Like, I need to teach the rest of the class.
Ironically, I do the same thing with you on the show regularly.
You don't need to say that.
Saied, please, can you just stop? We know you're a great dad. Okay, stop. Please,
No, it's not.
Please.
We don't need to go over that.
Yeah.
We don't need to go over the dot-com bubble crash. Yeah, we've already done that. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, this show is going to be hard for me no matter how we did it. I'm going to really miss the space.
Yeah.
But before we end the show, I want to recap something. All of this conversation is to say having fear of a recession is healthy. It's respectable. I think we all should fear the unknown. That's what volatility does. That's why the market's reacting the way that it is. But here's the one take-home element here. If you listen to the things that we tell you to do on the show, you stay abreast of the information that we give you on the show instead of run from it like a lot of people do. They run from the bad news. You can make better decisions. You'll be financially more successful. And if you stick with it, even through the scary times,
Mm-hmm.
you will come out on top.
Yeah.
That is statistically a fact.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Now, there are cohorts of people who retire. Their retirement accounts are wiped out. Companies fail. That is not who we're talking to here.
Mm-mm.
We're talking to people who invest in the market, diversify their investments, whether it's real estate or the stock market, and they continue over time. Both the real estate and the stock markets will come back if they go down.
No, and then we've talked about in previous episodes too. After a recession has been declared over, I think 75 or 85% of the time, within a year, it recovers.
Yeah.
Right? 100% of the time, it recovers after 3 years. So
100p, dog.
100p, dog. Got anything else?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to miss this space. Episode 280.
Episode 280. Higher standard out. Like
Goodbye, studio.
Mamba out.
Hello, new studio.
Yeah.
We can walk into the new and be like, I hated that place.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.